So welcome. I'm Jane Peterson with the Human Systems Institute, and I want to share something with you today. It is New Year's Eve, so looking forward to a new year, perhaps with some goals or new practices that you'd like to have for yourself. I wanted to share a practice I developed for a client of mine. My client was working on a meditation, a mindfulness meditation that involved focusing on what his hands were doing as a way to come fully into the present moment. However, he kept finding that there was something that was getting in the way. He described it as a kind of mood that kept interfering with his ability to become fully present. So I asked him a little bit about this, and I developed a little process for him. And that's what I want to share with you today. And I want to illustrate the way that this process works using my relationships. So I'm going to switch over to the relationships so I can narrate this process for you, and you can see if it works for you. Give it a try. So I'm going to go to share my screen right now and pull up my relationships. And hopefully you're now seeing, there's a little version of me up here talking in the corner. And hopefully you're seeing my little screen here. So my client, as I said, was trying to accomplish something, this meditation of really observing your hands and coming back into the present moment. And something kept interfering, and he described it as a mood. He said, it's not a good mood. There's something, a bad feeling that I'm having. So this thing that he was describing as a mood was actually a feeling that he was having. And it was kind of a base state that was interfering with his ability to really accomplish this mindfulness meditation. So I asked him just to bring his awareness to the mood. And so by doing that, I asked him actually to place himself in relationship to his inner feeling. So rather than, as I showed in the beginning, if you imagine this is a little person viewed from the top, these are ears and this is a nose. So you have a bird's eye view of my client here. So at first he was feeling like he was the feeling, like the feeling had him. And he wasn't able to do this meditation that he was trying to do to get himself into a better place. So I asked him, first of all, to become aware of the feeling. So I asked him to use his awareness of that feeling and to place himself in relationship to his feeling. So he's no longer like consumed by the feeling, just it has him. He's actually sort of putting the feeling out there and having a look at what is that feeling. He's bringing his awareness to the situation. He's making himself aware that he's got a feeling and that it's having an impact on him. And it's when he does that, he actually becomes sort of as large as the feeling. So now he's in relationship with his mood. The mood doesn't have him, he has it. And as soon as he does that, I asked him then to find a resonant word. So I asked him to then identify what the feeling was, to give it a name. And he said the feeling in this case was that he felt anxious. And this, as soon as he named the feeling, it got to be a little bit less powerful, a little bit less important for him. He was now the one who was having the feeling instead of the feeling having him. So once he had a name for it and he's in relationship with the feeling, it's like now he's aware of himself. He's looking at the feeling rather than through the experience of it. I asked him to say, if you really got in touch with that feeling of anxiety, is it something that belongs to the present moment? Or is it a need that you have right now? So in a sense, I asked him to first kind of reality test. Is this something basically from the past? So does this feeling or mood that I have, is it related to an old way that I'm used to feeling? Is it a habit that I have of feeling a certain way, given the time of year or what was happening? If so, is that feeling relevant now? Do I really need that feeling? What would I need to do to set that feeling aside, to be free from that, to let it go? And in this case, my client said, well, I think part of it is a habit. This time of year, because of my family situation, it was kind of an anxious time of year. So, and starting a new year, I always used to have some anxiety about it. But when I look at my life now, when I look at this present moment, in this present moment, I'm safe. In this present moment, I'm well. In this present moment, I'm just being here, being me. There's nothing for me to be worried about. So I can let that part of this go. I can let that be really small. And I said, well, is there still something else that's part of this feeling for you? And he said, yes, there is. And I said, well, what might that be? And he said, well, I think this feeling is trying to tell me something. So I asked him, is there something that this feeling is telling you that you need? And he said, he thought about it for a moment, and he said, yes, I think there is something that I might need. I need to have a conversation with somebody close to me that I have been putting off. And when I think about it in the present moment, all I'm doing is worrying. I'm not doing anything productive. Maybe I need to sit down and just write out my thoughts, and then I can let it go. Then I can actually return to the present moment. So I said, okay, why don't you do that? And so he said, then I can actually, I can take this need into myself. It's now something that I have, and I have control over. And this anxious feeling is quite small. In fact, it's almost gone. And that little piece of the past, I don't need it right now. So now he's able to actually be himself and be present in the current moment. So now he's actually present. And the beautiful thing about this little process is that it's a way of actually becoming present and available to another person in relationship. As long as we have these other factors, or this mood, or this baseline stuff pulling on us, this background stuff pulling on us, we aren't actually present to be in relationship with another person. When we actually can manage those parts of ourselves and sort of have them instead of them having us, then we actually can come into relationship with another person. We can be present and allow that relationship with that other person to unfold in the moment. So this is a way, by mastering, by really naming our moods, finding a name a word that really is resonant with that mood, that feels true to us. Letting ourselves become in relationship with the mood. In other words, we're really looking at what we're experiencing rather than just being sort of buried in it. Finding out if it's really needed right now. Is it something that belongs to the past? Or is it something that I no longer need? Or is there a need that I need to attend to? So this little process is one I call becoming available for relationship. And the first person you have to become available to is yourself. So by allowing yourself to recognize that something is going on, something is interfering with me performing this mindfulness task. And when I let myself actually experience what I'm experiencing, I let myself have that feeling. I let myself give myself the time to find a word or phrase that's really resonant, that feels true for what that feeling is, I allow myself to reality test that. Is that something from the past? Is it a feeling that I really need? Is it just a habit? Can I let it go? Or is there really some need that I need to address, that I need my adult self to take care of? Once I have ownership of that feeling, once I've sponsored that need and I've addressed it, and I've made a sacred promise to myself to really follow through with that need, then usually I find that my full present awareness is available to me. When I'm fully present with myself, I'm able to be fully present with another person, to hold them in my awareness. So that's the process. I hope you find it useful, and I wish you a wonderful new year. Thank you.